I don't know how to feel about the Seattle Mariners. This team hasn't made the playoffs since 2022, where it was a short run. They've had a tough history. It's tough to be a Mariners fan. If you are a Mariners fan, I feel for you. Um, being a fan of some teams that haven't done too well in the past myself. Obviously, Julio Rodriguez is an absolute stud. If you come away with anything from this video, know that Julio Rodriguez is really good at baseball. But the Mariners, I'm back and forth. This prediction that we came up with was really hard, I think, because they're going to win games. They have an amazing pitching staff that we'll get to. They have some really good players, but something is just missing, I feel, that'll take them to the top. And many people will point to their off season. So, off season was a very quiet one for Seattle. They didn't sign really anybody of note. Obviously, they got Donovan Solano, and we love Donnie Barrels, but he's not going to be a very big part of their offense this year. They let go of three guys that I think they could afford to let go of. Three vets. Josh Rojas and Justin Turner played very well for them last year. Actually, I'm not too sure about Justin Turner, but Josh Rojas I know was a 2.5 WAR player. They let them both go, which I think is perfectly fine. Best of luck to them. They're still quality MLB guys, but I think they can afford letting those guys go. And then same with Yimi Garcia, was solid for them for a little while, solid reliever, but didn't have a great year last year and can afford to let go of him. But quiet offseason overall. Not bringing in anybody new is something that's kind of debated in the baseball community. Yeah, let me know if you're a Mariners fan, if you're just watching this for fun. What do you think of not bringing in anybody and just kind of running it back with the same guys? I'm personally more for it than against it, but I don't know. Just something about doing absolutely nothing can, especially if your team struggles, it might not sit too well with fans. So I'm hoping it works out for the Mariners. Obviously, we think it will work out, but to what level, I don't know. But their best projected players, this is all via Fangraphs. Thank you to Fangraphs for their awesome expertise here in projecting. Julio Rodriguez, obviously, go to his Baseball Savant page, go to him as a player, his career, phenomenal player, phenomenal outfielder. You can pencil him in for at least 4 or 5 WAR. I think they projected him to get 6. I would project that as well. Hopefully he doesn't get off to a slow start like he has in a couple of his seasons. Hopefully he can kind of come out the gates roaring, and he doesn't go into these big slumps. But I'd say if he posts an 800 OPS and 6 WAR, playing great center field defense, I think you'd be okay with that. Cal Raleigh is a name that's kind of emerged in the top catching circles. I think it even said that Fangraphs power ranked Cal Raleigh ahead of Julio Rodriguez, which is kind of crazy to me. But yeah, very solid hitter, especially for a catcher. Good behind the dish. Projected for 5.3 WAR for a catcher. That's great. That'll put him among the top catchers in the MLB. Some people might even say he is a top catcher in the major leagues. Obviously, you got Randy Arozarena. He's a guy who obviously hasn't been playing his best, really. Kind of not the same as he was in 2020, where he was just a beast for that Rays team that went to the World Series. He was awesome, but still a guy can swing the bat, put up some hitting numbers for you, play a nice corner outfield position. And then J.P. Crawford is a player I like watching. Not going to light it up with the home runs and the extra base power, but he does know how to get the walk rate up and the strikeout rate down. I think he had probably the highest walk rate on the team, projected walk rate, and one of the lowest strikeout rates. And he plays really good defense at shortstop. So, and he's a clubhouse leader. Can't really ask for much more. That's a solid MLB player. Their pitching staff is insane. I'd wager it's one of the best pitching staffs in the MLB. Definitely at the top. Logan Gilbert was amazing last year, and he's really come on to be a top pitcher in the MLB. They project him to post a 3.36 ERA. Pretty much all the guys in the rotation, like Gilbert, Kirby, who we'll get to in a second, Luis Castillo, Brian Wu, maybe even Emerson Hancock. I can't recall. Oh, Bryce Miller, of course. All of those guys, I think all 5 were in the 3s ERA-wise, and were throwing a bunch of innings, racking up a bunch of WAR. Yeah, if all your 5-year starting pitchers are in the 3s, like, I think you're good to go there. I would take that any day of the week, especially because when I've been reviewing these teams, some players' best starter is projected to be in the 4s ERA-wise. So if your 5th best pitcher is in the 3s, that's pretty good. But Logan Gilbert is the ace of this team. George Kirby is slated to be the 3 starter behind Castillo, but he's also slated to put up great numbers. Just great pitching all around. The bullpen, a little shaky from what I can tell. Maybe the advanced numbers would prove me wrong, but there's not a bunch of big names, but I trust they'll be able to get the job done. Bullpen is important, but when you got guys in the starting rotation that can throw like that, obviously it's not too big of a concern. I think the main concern for this team is just the hitting, whether it'll show up. Like, if everybody plays their full potential, and if guys like, I don't know, Dylan Moore is a guy who's going to be the lineup again, a utility player. Victor Robles had a great season last year. If he can hit, just all around, if everybody contributes on the hitting front, I think it'll be a good year. Also, the vibes are great in the farm system. I didn't check the farm system rankings, but I imagine it's got to be one of the highest. 7 top 100 prospects according to MLB is insane. I think the best team we've covered so far only had 3. So 7 is really good. They don't have any top 19 guys, but quantity-wise, they're really good. The guys at the bottom, I'll address them first. Felnin Celestine, Johnny Farmelo, and Michael Arroyo won't be up until 27 or 28, I think I read on all of them. But all of them have a lot of potential, and if the Mariners keep developing them, they'll be good MLB players one day. The rest of these guys, same with Lazaro Montes. I don't think you should expect him to see him too soon, but a Yordan Alvarez comp is always nice. Yordan Alvarez is an amazing hitter, projected to be like a DH, maybe a corner outfielder one day. But I'll talk about the 3 guys who might be coming up pretty soon. Harry Ford is a guy who, if you remember, played for Great Britain in the World Baseball Classic. He's a catcher, but he's played a little bit of outfield as well. Solid hit tool, solid field tool. Whenever you have a top prospect that's a catcher, it feels if that's always a solid sign. Obviously won't be taking over for Cal Raleigh, but might be able to spell him for a little bit. Maybe also play a little outfield if the bat is good enough. And then Cole and Colt have the potential to form an incredible double play duo. If I saw Cole was a shortstop / second baseman, and Colt was third base / shortstop, but if somehow they end up at short and second in the future, like that would be Cole to Colt. Both guys that were first round picks. Cole was in the 2022 draft, and Colt was in the 23 draft. I'll talk about Cole first. They're kind of similar to what I saw. Both guys that have really good hit tools. MLB described Colt Emerson, who is a small town Ohio guy. So shout out to him for that. I'm ashamed that I didn't know who he was. I mean, that's me. Like, he's from Southeast Ohio. First round pick, 19 years old, I think. He'll probably be up in 26, while Cole Young is a little bit more advanced. I think he's 20 or 21 years old, and they project him to be up this year. But Colt Emerson is a guy who the minor league coaches, MLB describe him as like the best pure hitter in the minor leagues, which that's a pretty good compliment. His hit tool and athleticism are both very, very good, from what I've heard. So I would expect to see all these guys in the future sometime. And if all 7 pan out, that's pretty nice. Obviously, it's probably not going to happen, but I'd take 7 top 100 prospects any day of the week. Last season, obviously not great when you don't make the playoffs and you were expecting to make the playoffs, but 85 and 77 still a bit above 500 there. Finished second in the AL West. Obviously, didn't add anybody. They're kind of just hoping on running it back and getting better results with everybody 1 year older. Fangraphs has them stepping down a game, and we have them stepping up a game. So we both agree, Fangraphs and us, that when you just decide to run it back, especially with guys, like they don't have like any prospects that'll take like a huge sophomore surge and anything. Like obviously some of the pitchers will be better because they're relatively young. But hitting wise, everybody's kind of a vet. Like they've got Mitch Haniger in the lineup. Like everybody's kind of old and kind of vetty. And I don't see them taking like a huge leap, but because of the pitching and because maybe one of their prospects will go up, and I'm expecting Julio to have a great year, I could see them improving by 1 game. And obviously it all depends on the rest of the AL, which people have said is kind of weak, but maybe they could sneak into that playoff spot. They only missed it by a couple of games last year. Maybe they could sneak in to a wild card spot, but we have them finishing either second or third. Have to do the Astros preview to decide, but second or third in the AL West. Best of luck, Mariners fans. Be safe.